Hello and a warm welcome again here at feelingTERrific. Today I have another special guest, which I'm looking forward to have a conversation with. His name is Robert. It's Robert Rosellen, also a colleague of mine, and I will make a short introduction. But of course, the first question is for you then, Robert, to tell us who you are. So you have some seconds to think about it, how to answer that question. But basically, Robert is an area VP for Austria and Germany at ServiceNow. And today we will talk about different topics, and among them we will talk about his way to his VP role. So how is the way looking like, where he's coming from, what he learned over the time, and what makes him successful, and much more. And we will have a special look at the part of the role self-reflection plays within this journey of himself. So stay tuned. It will be a great conversation. So thank you, Robert, for your time, and I look forward to have an authentic insight.
Yeah, thank you so much, and hello everyone. Thank you, Christian, for inviting me to this beautiful and very interesting format you're driving forward. It's a real pleasure to be here. Yeah, I'm Robert Rosellen. I'm leading Austria and Germany here for ServiceNow, taking care of our sales team here, representing us in the markets. I'm here with ServiceNow since 2 years. It's a fascinating environment, so we may hear a little bit more during our conversation about it. I'm based here in Munich. I'm 45 years old. That's maybe as a beginning, a short introduction from my side.
45 years old, I would say 45 years young, because I think I can say Hungry and Humble is not just marketing, it's what ServiceNow drives, right? So you are 45 years old, young, and maybe with that also let's have a different perspective on where you started, right? So basically, what drives you as a person in general?
For me, what's driving me is really in my job is to have fun, right? To have fun, to discover new things, to work with people. That is giving me so much energy, and is helping me to fulfill, to take on new challenges. So that's two really big elements. And for sure, I love to take on challenges in different, say, difficult situations, turnaround situations, growing perspective. Those three elements are somehow attracting me or are important for me.
Yeah. So you just mentioned you love challenging situations, right? So how did it come then that you studied French-German double degree in international business, expert marketing, and corporate culture? So objectively speaking, it sounds like a challenge, at least to me.
It's a good question. Yeah, actually, it's a very good question. When I was young, I was not so looking forward to travel a lot, to do a lot abroad. But then in 1998, I know it exactly, I decided myself to do an internship abroad in France at that time, in Bordeaux. And it was the first time I really went abroad. I spoke French from school. But it was a really new challenge for me. And once I started with this internship, I really learned and enjoyed to get to know new cultures, new habits, different languages. And then for me, a big track record started also with my studies to say, hey, if you have the possibility to study abroad, why not? And I'm so thankful for having had this possibility. And so it came to reality that I was nearly 3.5 years constantly abroad. I did an internship in Romania when we created a new production facility in 1999. I went to Chicago when I did an internship with Bosch. I studied in France. And so that was really a very, very enriching experience. Sometimes it was really challenging. If you come back to Romania, I didn't speak the language. It was early in the years. The infrastructure was completely different. So, but it was so interesting to be part of that, right? To create something, to build something. And this was a start. So I'm really interested in different languages, in taking on challenges. And yeah, for sure, studying in France is something different. And if you study the French tax systems, which is complicated as a German one, so you're getting really into details of a language, but you learn a lot, and this is what I enjoyed a lot. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yes, so two things, right? So still fluent in French then?
Bien sûr. Il
Perfect.
faut dire aussi que ma femme est française, so my wife is French, so a good time we speak also French at home. So yeah, I'm good in French. Let's say it this way. I'm reading sometimes the French books, and in the mornings I still hear sometimes the news and podcasts in French to practice and to be à jour what's going on in France.
No, that sounds great. And I just realized now that, the question wasn't really well prepared because you are fluent in French, but good for you. And that's really great. A second thing, please correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems that you are dealing or working with an intercultural environment since your beginning then, right?
Yes. And it started, as I said, in the developed that is, I feel it's enriching. You learn so much more, and you learn unique cultures. For me, it's really enriching. I'm curious in that.
Yeah. So let's tackle another question, right? Which I think most of the people who are listening or watching this video are curious to know about. Why did you join ServiceNow? And why are you still here?
Still, I mean, I'm here since 2 years. It was an absolutely clear decision for me because I was looking on two things, right? The culture for me is super important. With whom I can work, I will work. So, do I trust the people? Do I feel respected? What culture we have? Are we helping each other? Team spirit, and this one. And I found very profound values here, and we're trying and we're living them day by day. It's an ongoing journey and responsibility, particularly also in my role. And the second was really on the technology side, and I was absolutely convinced that workflows will be super important for the next decade, and we are just in the beginning, right? So many challenges out there. But I'm proud to say that our platform is really helping addressing those challenges and making unattractive work, right? So that we as humans can maybe concentrate on more important things or things which brings more value, things where we can discover new things, right? Then rather doing maybe tasks which are very the same always, which is not very enriching and so on. No? And then for sure, I mean, look how many people we are lacking in the market. We a lot of industries where we don't find the people, right? So we need to more automate stuff, right? And that's a clear business need, no?
Yeah, and I would say the one who is watching or listening to this, especially on YouTube, right? So it is a total coincidence that your background says our work makes the world work or works, right? So, but this I think just summarizes perfectly what you just said. And so coincidence, it was not planned. But maybe let's take it from a different perspective, right? So attitude per se is something, at least please correct me if you have if you have different thoughts on that, is very important, right? And I would also assume that you are quite successful at ServiceNow. Otherwise, I assume again that you wouldn't have got the job you are in now, right? So what would you say, what role does attitude play in your journey within ServiceNow, but maybe also in general?
Yeah, in general, it plays a key role, Christian. Yeah? I mean, it's what is your mindset, how you are approaching the task, and how you deal with that. And for me, it's a critical component, right? So in attitude and the values we are demonstrating each day, right? Are we honest? Are we working as a team? Are we working in partnership? Are we constructive, right? Are we motivating ourselves to work in such a dynamic environment like the tech industry? And workflows is sometimes also quite complex, right? So let's help each others, and all based on values, definitely. Huh?
Yeah, I'm curious, or at least I'm wondering, right? So attitude, as you also just mentioned, is most of the time something positive, right? At least when you take the right perspective
Yes.
on the topic attitude. But do you have an example for us? When you self-reflected and when you saw that your attitude was harmful.
Yeah, I mean, if you go a little bit too negative, and if you see all things is not working and so on, so that we take care, or I take care then of the situation and look more forward and say, okay, that happened, but let's not discuss 10 times why. Yeah, let's take a reflection on that, but let's think more of going forward. Hey, how can we change? What can we do differently? Who can help? So more the straightforward helping approach really helped me in those kind of situations. Yeah, and for sure, yeah, it can happen. It's not always only going up and things are great. Sometimes things happen, but let's take the learnings, but let's help each other. So it's my approach to that it's not happening again, that we reflect on it, but helping also that, hey, let's course correct, let's go into that, let's see what can we improve. Huh?
Yeah. So when I summarize it with the word, solution oriented, would I be correct?
Yes. Yeah. Solution oriented. Yeah. Pragmatic also, right?
Pragmatic. Yeah. Self-reflection. I just mentioned it in a different context, but what are your thoughts? Underestimated or overrated?
I think I would be saying more underestimated, yeah, because I think it's privately and business-wise, it's important, at least for me, and it helped me over the years, always to reflect where I am, right? What is going good, where I need to learn, what is important. So taking the time, reflecting also. I just come from a customer meeting, right? Take a short reflection with the team. How was it? How we felt? What could we have done differently? It helps, right? It should not go too much intense, but taking the time in such busy times to reflect on yourself, how I reacted, why I'm reacting like this, is for me really a strong driver and brought me where I am, right? And I go running with my dog every morning, at least during working times, and this is for me a reflection time, right? Reflection time, and if I don't feel good, I think, hey, why I'm not feeling good? What is it? Or if I reflect through the day or through the time period. Okay, we just finished our first quarter, so I'm reflecting, hey, what was good, was maybe we could change. So it's needed, and over the time, for sure, I leverage more also people around me more and more, right? So it's not only a process with your own, but let's leverage coaches, let's leverage your manager, let's leverage your team, let's ask for feedback. Yeah, it helps you.
Yeah. And I think what's also, so thank you for sharing your thoughts on this. And I think those are quite important, right? When I self-reflect and think about self-reflection also per se, I think what's also important is, which is coming with it, because you take a pause for at least a minute or whatsoever, right?
Yes.
And in nowadays world, and especially in the software industry, it's much needed sometimes, right? Because otherwise you are overwhelmed, and mental health is also something which is coming up, burnout or whatsoever. So, very good point.
Also in the balance, private and job, right? It's one life. So I'm not in the way that I say private life, business life. It's one life. So does my son now need more attention here? And do I give him enough? What is needed here? So it's not. For me, one world. So and if both things are working perfectly, you're at the top, right? But it's not per se that it's in such a dynamic situation, and also with all the environment things, what's going on, right? So it's so important. We get so much input. Let's say it this way: we get input here over the cell phone. We get input from people. We get input from the market. What's going on? So if you are interested in some of those topics, it's good to take a step back and say, hey, what's my position? How do I feel with that? What could I change? It's also about what is my Haltung? How do you say in English? My approach to that, right?
Yeah. And it also is coming back to the point of attitude, then, right? And attitude, approach, mindset. How are you dealing with it? Yeah. No, that's good. So basically, you started around, correct me if I'm wrong, but over 20 years ago in the IT industry, right? So why did you start in the beginning in this industry, and why are you still in the IT industry?
Actually, it was by accident. I applied for a trainee job one night. I remember I was, I worked in the printed circuit assembly business. So that is more production of PCs. After my school, I immediately worked at a company which is nowadays Flextronics. So we worked in production lines, produced the motherboards for the PCs and so on. So I was already a little close to the tech industries, where this was more the hardware and the high-tech industry, if you want. But then I was more keen and say, hey, let's go to the big automotive guys. But it didn't work out. And then I saw the possibility to start a trainee program at Microsoft. And overnight I said, why not? And I tried, and it was a quite tough interview process. And then I got really the appetite. And one thing which really supported the whole approach, and why I fundamentally believe that we're in a privileged industry, was when I started in the 7th of January in 2004 in the software industry. There was a saying from Bill Gates: software never was out. So it never was out, never was out. And that's so true, right? It's such a dynamic thing. It's not everything is good, what comes with software, but the possibilities, what software can help the society, what software can help us in the business. Wow. Yeah. And we're not yet done. That is not that I'm glorifying everything what comes with software. I'm saying just there's so much which is in there, which brings new dynamics, which brings new things. So and that motivates me as well, right? So much innovation. So who has thought about what's coming now all out, right? Again, I'm saying it's important, the responsibility. So not everything what comes from artificial intelligence is per se the best thing we ever seen. And we see now also even reactions from Elon Musk and people saying, hey, artificial intelligence, it goes very fast. Let's be also cautious what we're doing, that we're not overwhelming the society with things we can't control. That's definitely also my point of view. But overall, this is an incredible innovation, incredible new possibilities, incredible dynamic, let's say it this way, which motivates me. And so I think I will stay very close to software, as every company becomes somehow also a software company, right? So because it plays such a key role, right? 20 years ago, that was not the case. But today I'm just looking over to Siemens. Yeah? It becomes a clear software company. So things are really moving. So I'm pretty sure that I will stay quite close over the next 20 years to software.
Yeah. So based on your comment, which you made now, I think my next question doesn't make really sense because you just said that every company is kind of a software company and kind of in the IT industry. Then would you consider moving out of the software industry one day?
I wouldn't yet now per se say no. It really depends, right? So Christian, the thing where I'm looking every time, what can I learn? What can I contribute? With whom I can work together, right? With whom I can really work, what people, what cultures, and what is the purpose, right? So, and I wouldn't now per se say no, but I think software plays a key role too. to address a lot of topics, right? For me, the topic of climate impact, ESG is super important. So personally, right, and I could do even much more. But when I got much profounder, I was surprised how software can help, right? You can now leverage software and the cloud and satellite to track every tree on the planet, right? Okay, great, you will say, but why it's so important? Yeah, that we can see how the forest is developing, how we give landlords better possibilities to take care of the forest, because the forest is quite important for climate, right? So that's great things which can help us in software addressing urgent needs we have in the society or in the world, like really climate impact. So make it measurable, make it visible, and leverage those possibilities here to provide better solutions for better forests and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm with you. It will be interesting to see how the software evolves, right, and in which speed. Because as you also mentioned, it's really interesting to see that the software is having a much more acceleration of progress, or the society cannot deal with it, I think, from time to time. So that will be interesting. But also ESG, I think, topic of our time, and also Generation Z especially, but I mean for everyone, right? Let's have a different topic now, management, right? So I mean, you're in a management position and also having quite a track record within it. So you came into contact with management first time in 2011, right? What fascinated you to consider this path in the beginning?
Taking on more responsibility, taking on also the responsibility to develop people, right? To help them to be successful in the job. That were really main drivers at the time, or are main drivers, right? Really helping a team to be successful, making others successful, and leading and providing an environment where people can develop, where people can be successful. That is something which I like to do. Huh?
Yeah. So you would say then, if I summarize you correctly, without people, there's no business, there's no success?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what is the purpose? Why we're working together? How we develop? What are the experience? And that's a gift, right? And you know, Christian is taking care a lot of the diverse perspectives, living diversity. Not saying, hey, it's important, but really, that's really a gift as being human, right? To understand different perspectives, to tackle problems, to get other backgrounds, other point of views, and to discuss them, right? So, and this is also important in management, right? So, bringing new perspectives, trying to take on new challenges, helping.
Yeah. So now you have more than 10 years of management experience, right? What is the one thing, if you can say one thing, maybe there are more, which shaped your mindset of management so far?
The one thing, I mean, for me, it's being authentic, walk the talk is absolutely crucial, right? And also to open up. I was maybe in the past not so open to disclose things, also how I'm privately and things, but being human, I think, and being authentic and admit that sometimes you make also mistakes, right? But then look forward and being also clear in the decisions and stick to the decisions, I think is for me key, right? So, and then balance it, right? Between, hey, we have a responsibility for results and performance, but we want to also develop people. We want to take care for good culture.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
and I mean, I cannot underline enough. I mean, being authentic, but being empathic, right? Being really for your team members, for the overall team, for the company, for the customers. It's so important, right? It's so take the time to understand where people come from, what makes them, driving them, taking care of that. I cannot underline enough how important it is, and that's the reason why sometimes it really take a little bit more stuff out of your calendar to really have the antennas for empathy, to see, hey, how people feel. Do they smile? Do you like to come to the job? Are we getting together as a group, or is it just a job, right? So, and I feel people must have fun in the environment I'm working and I'm responsible for. Yeah? And for sure, we're not doing everything correctly. Yeah, we could improve and so on, but at least we have an honest dialogue to say, hey, this could be better, and hey, this worked, and celebrate success is super crucial.
Yeah. Isn't it all about purpose, transparency, approachability, self-reflection, and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big part, absolutely. For sure, also with all that, with what we're just discussing, Christian, results are coming, right? Because if you're motivated...
Usually automatically, right?
Yeah, it's the base for success, right? If you're motivated, if you have fun, if you get listened, if you can provide feedback, if you have the attitude, wow, yeah. And it's a daily job, right? For me, for everyone. No?
Yeah. You know, we just talked about, scratched it, right? So approachability and being a human. And I think what being a human means also is to say, hey, I made a mistake, right? So I'm wondering, do you have an example of a time when you had some thoughts, why am I doing this? Why I'm managing a team? Or did you have some thoughts of that?
Management, not. No, also, because somehow I like the position, I like to take the responsibility. So sometimes, for sure, it's not always going always up, right? And I think if you start to build something, if you're in a dynamic environment, there can be also situations, and I think that's extremely helpful to learn, as long as it's not going forever, where it's maybe a little bit tough, right? Challenging, where you see, wow, there's many open positions, you're not moving fast enough. Wow, the things are changing. Oh, I need to do that and that. It's good, right? It's good because after, when it goes down, there's always an up, but you take so much more learning, so much more energy. So that is important. Huh?
Yeah. I mean, every situation is different, right? But would you say that you have something, kind of a ritual or something like that, which helps you when you have kind of a situation where maybe not everything is going as planned, and you have this kind of a curve, and when it's coming up again? Do you have something which helps you in such situations?
Yeah, ritual. I mean, my daily, when I have time for me to reflect, is super helpful in that, in phases like that. Or that you share with my wife some of my thoughts, so that she knows, okay, apparently at the moment is a little bit more, and maybe she has also some other reflection, or my family, yeah, or people close in business to leverage, or coaches to leverage in that. I had situations where I completely dealt in difficult things only with me. But over the time, I learned, hey, include some of the people, better include your team, get the feedback, share openly where we are, is much more helpful and gives you even more energy. People know where we are. And so that's maybe one of the learnings. Ritual, in that situation, I say always, hey, stay calm. Think about, it's about people, it's about fun. Celebrate smaller things then, right? And there's new energy, right? If things are a little bit more difficult, there's always something where we could celebrate as a team, or can be proud of it. And then we do step by step and step by step, right? So don't forget this. I'm particularly looking more on positive energy. Yeah, for sure. I could, in a difficult situation, every day say, oh, this is not working, this is not working. Oh, by the way, this is also not working. But it doesn't help, and it doesn't create energy. It's good to be sharp and saying, okay, great. At the moment it's maybe challenging in those aspects. Great, point taken. But let's look forward. What can we change? Where I need help, and include others to support, and things are moving much easier. And you can being transparent, and things are moving much easier then. Yeah.
Yeah. So three takeaways: include the team, appreciation of smaller things, or of the small things, and that's all. And then also, as already mentioned, solution orientated or programmatic, right? Yeah.
Pragmatic. Yeah.
No, that That's great. So how was the move? So you're currently in a second line management position, right? So how was the move or from a first line manager role into the area VP role you're currently in?
Well, yeah, steps in the meantime, right? For sure that at the beginning, maybe you don't recognize it immediately. So you need to take some time. At least it took me some time, because on the one side you want to help, but on the other side, you always need to remember you need to enable your team, coach the team. It's not about you doing the job and going into too much detail. So that is definitely was for me a big learning curve, right? To give up, to really delegate, and still I could today do things even better, right? So that is, but it felt good, right? And for sure in those roles, your team is the most important, right? Are you trusting your team? Is the team ready? And do you have a team? Do we have the same spirit? And today I'm proud that we have the team, right? We had some new people joining recently, so we're ready. So that is super. That's a gift, right? You and the team and the extended team to work on. Huh?
Yeah. So what were your first thoughts when you did get the feedback you got the role?
Which role, or any role, or
the current one you're currently in? What were your first thoughts when you did get the feedback that you did get the role?
Yeah, I was. My first thoughts is, wow, now it's there, right? So, and I was proud and happy, and I got a lot of acknowledgement. But then, Christian, it goes also very fast, right? So it was not like, oh, let's do now, let's wait. So next day we started, right? So it went there. And then it's important in that role, right, to always balance what is now short-term and tactical, what's on the people side, what's strategically. So really balance it. And as we had a little bit topic of self-reflection, is super, super important, right? Particularly if you're in a very dynamic environment where things are changing, where new things are coming and so on. No?
Yeah. Maybe last question in that regards. How did you prepare yourself mentally and structurally to set yourself up for success for this role?
I mean, in general, I have a clarity on points where I need to work on. So I'm reflected on that. I share this with my manager. I leverage also the feedback, right? So I said, okay, hey, you need to give up. Your priority is the team. I'm working also. I leverage also my coach in that sense. So those are important, very important sparrings partner. Let's say this is super important. But then for sure, it's always for me like I'm always reflecting people. Is the team good? What needs to happen short term? What happens to be long term? How our customers are seeing us? But because in those 4 dimensions, I'm really constantly checking, right? Do you think we're on the right steps? What is important? For example, the last weeks was super important that everyone had a clear plan, right? We are clear how we can be successful. The clarity needs to be here, there. So I was tenacious on that one, right? So because I know it's in our own, in your and my own interest. If you have the clarity how it could work, it's not a guarantee that it will work, but at least you have the clarity. So with the clarity, it feels much better to tackle a year and to get to the next challenge. And in that, this is things I have in my mind. I share it with the team, yeah, and so we balance it. So sometimes it can be very workload intense, but yeah, I those things I'm really constantly reflecting, right? Because I know if the team is not feeling well, if we are understaffed, if we have challenges, if people are not respected, we have a major issue, right? We can have not fun. We don't have an environment where people have fun. We have not an environment where we are open from a cultural perspective. We're not open for feedback. So those are really crucial topics. And then for sure, long term, we have a clear vision where we wanted to be in 25. We have really worked out with the team now the strategy towards that, besides all what comes from our headquarters and all the plans. So there's short-term plan. There's a long-term, mid-term plan where we want to go and what it really means, right? How we make sure that our office in Düsseldorf is good and is to the requirements we need to have, right? For us as a team, as an environment. Huh?
Yeah. No, let's take it from here, right? Maybe the last question from my side: self-awareness, self-reflection, mental health, recharging, purpose, etc. Buzzword bingo or what?
No, not buzzword bingo. Crucial elements, right? Being cautious about it. As I said, balance it, right? Sometimes one dimension is more important at this phase than the other one, but take the time. That's the reason why I'm really like Christian, the topic of self-reflection. So take the time to reflect where you are as a person in private and business, and what is working good, what's not working good, where I'm taking care. And it's much easier day to day. Yeah, let's say it this way. Yeah.
Yeah. No, thank you, Robert, very much for your time. We are at the end of our conversation, but maybe over to you for the last words.
I'm just saying thank you so much for the great conversation, the questions. I liked the emphasis we had and discussed some of the topics. So important to constantly reflect. I'm looking forward to come back one day to the series. Keep on going the good work, Christian and team. Yeah, and then I think the most important thing is that you have fun in your job and you see purpose. And wow, what can we achieve here, right? It's a lot. Thank you so much.
Nothing to add. Thank you for your time, Robert. Take care. See you soon.
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.